Ladies and gentlemen, the day of presidential litigation has arrived. It's lawsuit time. In my hand is a legal demand letter addressed to Mr. Hunter Biden from the First Lady of the United States, demanding a retraction of Channel 5's video called Hunter Biden Returns, in which Mr. Biden here makes some speculative comments about the relationship between Jeffrey Epstein, Melania Trump, and Donald Trump.
Okay, well, they knew each other well. They spent an enormous time together. According to his biographer, is that Jeffrey Epstein introduced Melania. That's how Melania and the First Lady and the president met.
Really?
Yeah.
Epstein made the intro.
Yeah, according to Michael Wolff.
Yeah.
And so I only can go by what people are saying, and I don't know.
He didn't make these claims out of nowhere. They come from another journalist named Michael Wolff, who is a biographer that actually spoke to Jeffrey Epstein. But now here we are. And I've got $1 billion document in my hands because Mrs. Trump is seeking $1 billion in damages if we don't take the video down and if Hunter here doesn't issue a formal apology to Mrs. Trump. So now we're here maybe to give you the platform to apologize to the First Lady for your statements that you made about her possible connection to Jeffrey Epstein.
Fuck that. That's not going to happen.
Fuck Black, fuck Quack, fuck Eddie, fuck Fab, fuck Lowe's, fuck Sada, fuck Spaz, fuck O'Delly, fuck Jay, fuck Sutter, fuck Schmack, fuck the North. If the Mozzie niggas trippin', fuck Fab, fuck 3, fuck the fuck.
Well, first of all, is that what I said was what I have heard and seen reported and written, primarily from Michael Wolff, but also dating back all the way to 2019, when the New York Times, I think, Annie Carney and Maggie Haberman reported that sources said that Jeffrey Epstein claimed to be the person to introduce Donald Trump to Melania at that time. And then it was, I think, excerpted in a book that was published in Vanity Fair. And I think it's been repeated by journalists and authors since then. But the primary source was the interviews that Michael Wolff has been conducting, in which he has actually tapes of, I think, hours and hours and hours of interviews with Jeffrey Epstein directly. So, you know, the fact of the matter is that, you know, I don't think that these threats of a lawsuit are add up to anything other than a design distraction, because it's not about who introduced whom to who. I don't know how that's in any way rises to the level of defamation to begin with, but the fact of the matter is that this is about hundreds, if not over 1,000 minors, children who were raped by Jeffrey Epstein. And I don't believe in guilt by association alone, but the connections have become, they're so glaringly obvious that I think they're trying to use other things to distract. And I also think they're bullies, and they think that $1 billion is going to scare me, which is, the fact of the matter is that if they'd like to go, I have this to say to them. If they want to sit down for a deposition and clarify the nature of the relationship between Jeffrey Epstein, if the president and the First Lady want to do that, and all of the known associates around them at the time of whatever time that they met, I'm more than happy to provide them the platform to be able to do it.
So if you countersue, they'd have to sit for deposition.
No, not if I countersue. If they sue me, they would have to sit for a deposition. Almost certainly, certainly the First Lady would have to sit for a deposition, and most likely the president would have to sit for a deposition. And based upon Clinton versus Jones, the Supreme Court case, the president would not be exempt from having to sit down for a deposition.
And that would be a pretty big deal, right?
Well, I think the entire world would love to finally get to the bottom of the true nature of their relationship.
But a deposition with a sitting president, has it ever happened before?
Yeah, with Bill Clinton.
I've only ever seen 2 deposition videos before. There's the Jeffrey Epstein one where they ask him if he has an egg-shaped penis. Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
And then he walks out. Then have you seen the Lil Wayne deposition where he threatens the person interviewing him?
This would be bigger than the Lil Wayne deposition, I bet.
That's the most viewed deposition of all time.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
no,
anyway-
I've seen the deposition with Jeffrey Epstein, in which, again, I'm paraphrasing. I don't know the exact words that he used, but he was asked, "Were you ever in the presence of Donald Trump and underage women and minors?" And he, after not having taken the fifth on several questions before and after that, he takes the fifth on that question. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And why do you think that might have been?
Look, I'm not an expert in any way on Jeffrey Epstein and the case and what's transpired. But I do know this. I know that Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted of child sex trafficking, but sex trafficking of minors in particular. And Ghislaine Maxwell now, who's convicted of as being one of the and by the way, and participated in those rapes, not just procuring women and girls. We have to remember this: girls, children, for Jeffrey Epstein, but participating in that sexual abuse. And she is serving, I think, 20 to 25 years, and was serving in a maximum security prison. And all of a sudden, Ghislaine Maxwell, which is almost unique, according to experts, has been in the history of the prison system, federal prison system, as a sex trafficker, has been moved to the maximum security prison, to a minimum security prison, I think, in which at some point prisoners have the right to be able to petition to be able to leave prison on during the day and check back in, kind of the way that Jeffrey Epstein served when he served his year and a half or whatever it was. He didn't spend the day in jail. He left. He got the ability to leave during the day. Mm-hmm. And I also know that people like Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino have made careers off of the Epstein case, in which they accused everyone under the sun other than Donald Trump and of being guilty of the same things Jeffrey Epstein was, because of their association or the fact that they flew on a plane with him, so forth and so on. And one of the things that was their main focus in 2024 was that they were going to get into these governmental departments that had control over these quote unquote files and lists and all of the things, and they were going to release them. And all of a sudden, now they're not. And so again, what it comes back to is this: is that, are we going to normalize this type of behavior in which we're just supposed to all look the other way? And that type of behavior, what I'm talking about, is the rape of children. Are we going to normalize it to the degree that say, oh, well, Donald Trump was just interested in models, whatever that means, or that it was a crazy time during the late 90s, early 2000s, or whatever? I don't know. But that's ultimately the question that the American people are going to have to answer. And I guess MAGA is going to have to come to terms with whether or not they're going to allow Donald Trump to completely liquefy reality and say there's nothing to see here, move on. And by the way, there is not a chance in hell that there is a actual legitimate cause of action as it relates to defamation for what I said and attributed it to Michael Wolff. But if they want to go through the process, they know that it's going to cost an enormous amount of money to do it. And so, that's the only thing that I got to figure out. We got to get we got to figure out how the hell we're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
But
how much do you think it would cost?
I don't know. I most likely in the in the high hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, to be able to do
in
it.
legal fees.
Because just think about it. If you're going to try to get the president of the United States for a deposition, and all of their known associates during the time that he met Melania Trump, you're talking about a a long and arduous process to be able to do that, because they are experts at drawing this out, and this is what he always does. He sues everybody, and he sues them into oblivion, and he makes it so costly. But look, here's what I'm saying to the American people, is if you want to know the origin and the nature of the relationship between Donald Trump, Melania Trump, and which I have no personal knowledge of. I can only go by what has been reported. But if you want to know that nature, then let's all go figure it out together.
Of the connection to them.
I'll be the point of the tip of the spear for you.
Great. Well, yeah, I just wanted to, if you could just kind of start by telling us your name and what your connection is to Jeffrey Epstein, that would be great.
I'm Michael Wolff, and I have done a series of interviews over a number of years with Jeffrey Epstein.
And when did you first come into contact with him?
Well, I had known him on a couple of instances. I was a writer for New York Magazine, the lead writer, and Jeffrey Epstein was among a group of wealthy men who tried to buy New York Magazine in 2004. So I got to know Epstein then. But not long after that, his legal problems began, and he went to jail. And I didn't really get back in touch with him until about 2014, when he asked me to write about him, and we began to have a discussion about that, and then I began, in fact, to write about Donald Trump, and Epstein became a source, a valuable source on Trump in the late 80s and 1990s, when he and when Epstein and Trump were the closest of friends.
What was the basis of their friendship in the 90s?
Women and money, status, social climbing. And in so many ways, they were very similar people. They were outsiders to Manhattan, where they lived. They wanted to be insiders. They both fancied themselves as playboys, and were deeply involved in the world of models. So if you recall, models were a key part of the 1980s, 1990s zeitgeist. Supermodels, runway models, catalog models, young girls who just wanted to be models. This was the world that Epstein and Trump were very much involved in. Trump with his beauty pageants, Epstein with his connection to Victoria's Secret. This was their idea of status and sex.
And what was the process of scouting many of these models? Was it done domestically? Were they targeting people who were underage and kind of grooming them to become models when they turned 18? Or what was the typical process?
Yeah, I mean, I don't exactly know. I mean, but it was around model agents. So they both were involved in starting and backing model agencies and model representatives, and these models often came from Eastern Europe, but I think they came from anywhere. I'm not sure that they were that particular.
How did Melania Trump come to the United States?
Well, I think she as far as I know, she came on because she was a model, because that's where the business was. She was brought here by a modeling agency. This was not a big business. I mean, everybody tended to know each other, and if you had any hope of having a significant career as a model, you needed to know all of these people.
So you made the claim that Melania was introduced to Donald Trump by Epstein?
Well, I said that she was introduced through that circle, is what I exactly said. And they all would have known each other, and obviously Epstein knew Trump. They all knew the same model representatives. They were all frequently working together in these various guises of these modeling agencies.
Epstein didn't make the direct introduction.
I don't know exactly what the direct introduction. I think that he was at that party where they met. So I mean, again, I think it's just very important to be clear about this. That this was a circle of people who knew each other. Everyone knew everyone. Epstein had known Melania. Melania then she knew the same agents that they were all working with. So that this was, again, I think circle is the right word. This was a social circle.
What specifically did Epstein tell you?
He told me volumes. So we would have to spend an enormous amount of time to do that download. But
I guess in those conversations, are there any stories or anecdotes that stick out as particularly resonant when you're discussing the relationship between the two?
Again and again and again, everything sticks out because it's obviously Donald Trump, who's the president of the United States, and it involves Jeffrey Epstein, one of the notable monsters of our time.
And as far as Epstein's role, do you think that he was some sort of blackmail agent, or do you think that he was more just an elite person with, who was intent on victimizing young women?
Well, I don't know anything about blackmail, if that occurred. Nothing I ever saw with Epstein indicated that would have gone on.
And where can somebody learn more about all this stuff if they want to hear more from you and dive a little bit deeper?
Well, funny you should ask. Behind me, we have just launched a new podcast.
So defamation is that you went on a Channel 5 video and you repeated a statement that another journalist said, and that journalist actually talked to Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
So really, Jeffrey Epstein is liable.
Yeah, and conveniently, Jeffrey Epstein is not available for comment. Yeah.
This was not just sent to you; it was also sent to the Daily Beast and James Carville.
Their own, and I assume a few others that we haven't heard about. But yes, and it was so. My understanding is that it was sent to the Daily Beast. Daily Beast took down the article that reported on the podcast, the Daily Beast podcast that Michael Wolff had done.
Yeah.
But the Daily Beast did not take down the podcast. And so the podcast is still available, whoever wants to go out and listen to it. The New York Times article from Annie Carney and Maggie Haberman from July of 2019 is still available online. You can look at it. The guy who wrote the book that was excerpted in Vanity Fair, you can still go look at it. There's a guy that I understand that is coming out with a book that makes even more connections between the two, that's coming out this week, and you can go read that book. And look, this has been so widely reported and talked about. It is not in any way, particularly when I'm attributing it to the source of which I heard it from, in any way remotely in the realm of defamation, and particularly defamation of a public person. It's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. But by the way, here's what's also insane. You got man-child Don Trump Jr., who was who was waving the flag for whoever doesn't release the Epstein list is obviously guilty, and the Biden administration, blah 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 blah. Where are you now, Don? Donnie, where are you now? Where is your contempt for what is happening right now? And it's just like, but look, it's like everything they do is either projection or confession. Everything. Yeah.
So what message at the end of the day do you think all this stuff sends?
Well, I don't know where this is going because I don't know if he gets over this. When I say he gets over this, I don't know if the president is able to do exactly what I just said and like sweep all of this under the rug and distract people enough that these people that truly care about children are just going to say, okay, you know, I guess so. And people like me are going to say, okay, I'll just stop talking about it because I'm afraid of you. But I do know this, okay? And this is what I talked to you about last time. Is with my when my brother was Attorney General, and he did the Dr. Bradley case.
Yeah.
Okay. There is an epidemic, if not a pandemic, in this country, and globally. Okay, in the way in which adults, particularly adults that are family members. Mm-hmm. And figures of authority treat children, not just girls, but in the majority of instances, girls, and I mean girls, from 3 years old to 18 and beyond. And what this could do, in my opinion, is make it that much harder any little girl that is being sexually abused or raped by her stepfather or her father or her brother or her pastor in whatever mega church that they go to, or whether it's the school teacher or whether it's the leader of the Boy Scout troop or the Girl Scout troop, okay? It's gonna make it that much harder for them to come forward and say, you know, what about me? When the President of the United States and his administration has just taken the most prolific sex offender as it relates to the rape and molestation of children and said, nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. That's what it does. And it's like all of this stuff of what they do is that they have basically allowed evil out from under the rock that it always hides. And you see it, not just as it relates to child rape, and not because pedophilia, like this is like such this loaded word that's been used and overused, and people call people pedophilia. Like child rape, out and out, straightforward racism. The way in which we talk about the LGBTQ community. Are we okay with that as a country? That's a question that we need to ask ourselves. That's a question all MAGA needs to ask itself right now, regardless of what you think about Trump. Don't you think that we deserve the truth? Don't you think that the people that have perpetrated these crimes should be held accountable at the highest level?
Hell yeah, man.
Well, right. But that, Andrew, I'm saying right.
Oh, yeah.
And then I turn around and I listen to these guys, and you go on Fox News, and you know what they're going to do? Here's what they're going to do. They're going to attack me. They're going to say, he's a pedophile. His dad's a pedophile. His dad's like sniffing kids' heads. And haven't you seen those pictures? And you know what the pictures are? Is of my, like one of the pictures is of my dad holding my nephew at my brother's funeral and kissing his head. That's all they need. And they're going to show pictures of me with, with women in motels that they got off of a fucking hard drive or a laptop or whatever. And they're going to attack. And their entire media machine will spin up. And everybody on Fox News, and you'll have, Jesse Waters, who's, real man's man. And, I guarantee he's never thrown a punch in his life. And you'll go all the way to Sean Hannity, who like he's a Krav Maga, like, he's a fighter. Wow. You know what I mean? Like these tough guys who are all going to be protecting someone that they know did the wrong thing. And it has to do with fucking kids. Kids. I mean, Jesus Christ, you don't have to go so far other than to just look I mean, it was no great. It seemed like they got so much of it cut out. But just go to Netflix and watch Filthy Rich.
Mm-hmm. That's the Epstein documentary, right?
Yeah, which is just one part of it. They didn't even touch on Trump because they took it out. But like, just watch the lengths that they went to take young girls who had already been victimized in their lives, who had been abused by their parents, who had witnessed his crime, who were just totally emotionally and physically vulnerable, and just brought them into this world. Strangely enough, a lot of them, or at least a couple of them, or at least one that I know of, came from Mar-a-Lago. Like, and they identified him, this girl. And then sex trafficker provided her for sex to other individuals, including themselves, including Ghislaine Maxwell. Yeah. And this person just got moved to minimum security prison. She's about to get, most likely, if everybody doesn't open their eyes to this, is going to get a pardon one way or another.
Yeah. You know,
what message does it send to a little girl that escapes that? And starts to rebuild her life. And in rebuilding her life, she whether in whatever way that may be, wakes up one day and she says, I want to hold those people accountable that did that to me. In most states, there's no statutory limitation on sexual abuse of a minor. She says, I want to hold them accountable. Or whether it's a boy from a Catholic high school.
Right.
And he's now 25 and he says, I want to hold them accountable. What does it say when the President of the United States of America is moving one of the most prolific sex traffickers of minors, at least that I know of, in the history of our country, from maximum security prison to a minimum security prison? What message does it send to those people who want to stand up against the powerful? And I'm not saying that it's about standing up to the powerful, just the President of the United States, but sometimes the most powerful person in your life is the one that just abused you, whether it's your father, or whether it's your priest, or whether it's your pastor.
Or Boy Scout leader.
Or your Boy Scout leader. They're all figures of authority. And the ultimate figure of authority in the United States of America is giving everybody a free pass on this? How messed up is that?
Yeah. Well, thanks again.
All right, buddy. Next time.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to keep it a band with you guys. That means 100, 1,000. It means keeping it real. By the time you're watching this, it is possible that Melania Trump and her lawyer have filed suit against Hunter and maybe myself as a defendant. Not quite sure, but if that is the case, I have some fantastic news. This fall and winter, Channel 5 is going on tour. That's right, a 26-city carnival across this great nation, and even in 3 cities up north in Canada. It's gonna be a carnival like no other. We're gonna have locally sourced battle rappers from each city get on stage and compete in the ancient art of freestyle insult battling, which has really gone downhill since 8 Mile was released. After that, we're gonna take locally sourced magicians. That's right, David Blaine, David Copperfield style illusionists to pull people from the audience and blow their mind with magic. After that, we're gonna have a talent show. That means we're gonna pick people from the audience with a special talent and have them come on stage to perform for the world. So if you're a, break dancer, an opera singer, a fire spinner, a hula hooper, if you can do pretty much anything, you can be a star. Just buy a ticket to Channel 5 Carnival. In addition to all of that, we're gonna be screening 3 secret documentaries on the road. 2 of these documentaries are a bit too grotesque to put on YouTube. Can't say too much more, but even Patreon said, Channel 5, that's too far, Channel 5 Carnival. After that, our 3rd documentary that we're gonna show is a little bit too depressing to put on YouTube. Well, you can put depressing stuff on YouTube, but to me, it's a very sensitive documentary that I put a lot of time into that I don't feel like I want to just put online for the people to see. It's called Finding Orson. It's a documentary about a man who lost his parrot. His parrot flew away, left the cage that was on the balcony, and just kind of flew away. And the documentary is about our quest to reunite Rick, an older man, with his parrot, Orson. So it's gonna be a really fun time. If you guys wanna buy tickets to our tour, it's gonna be fun. If you guys wanna roll, it would mean a lot. Tickets are available now at www.channel5.news/pages/carnival. Again, that's www.channel5.news/pages/carnival. If you guys want to buy a ticket, I'm going to put the link in the description box and the pinned comment of this video. Should be a fun time. So if you guys want to support us and join us on the road, I'll see you guys there.